We're live.
Hey, well, good. Okay, y'all. So tonight we want to address the protesting and the rioting and the things that are going on nationwide um, because of what happened to Greg Floyd. Um, as unfortunate as it is, and it is very unfortunate, we we've we have moved into and this has really gotten extreme. Um, During these protests, we're now witnessing children being harmed, um, people being killed, people still wrongfully being arrested. It's just not a good situation. Um, Sharika, I know you were speaking about some things as far as what you had witnessed so far about the protesting. Did you have anything you want to say?
Well, my issue right now is how many more lives are we willing to just give up? Um, I know there are a lot of parents that saying they're proud, and I know there's a lot of kids that's speaking up and stuff like that. But it breaks my heart to see kids getting thrown around out of cars and stuff like that. And it got to be a better way because we're not, we're not, we're not we're losing more kids, losing more people. And I know that it seems like it's honorable to stand up, but if we're not hitting these city officials, and one of the biggest problems I think is we don't know where to place blame, so we're just fighting and we don't know who we're fighting. Right now we're at war with ourselves and everybody else. um I feel right now we really don't know who we're fighting against, and now this just kill or be killed type of thing. I saw some posts on Facebook that pretty much hurt my heart because if I see your post, that means we're supposed to be some way connected on Facebook. And I see people saying things like it's time to bring martial law in. I see things like if y'all thinking that's the way to get next to us, y'all already done lost. I see people literally saying these types of things on Facebook, and I'm like, how can I possibly be friends or associated with someone who even think like that? But then again, I think at times, how do I think the way that I think? Because my feelings ain't so good about a lot of situations right now.
Yeah, we were speaking yesterday, and like I was telling you yesterday, I think at this point in time that we all have some prejudice in us due to the things that we've been through. We just all do, and it's not meant to be bad. But the thing about it is like we all have some racism in us, and um, it's unfortunate. The one thing that I want people to understand is that the one thing we have to do is we have to get to know this Constitution. We got to get to know our laws and we got to get to know our rights. I have noticed that there is a difference between people who get pulled over and said, I haven't done anything. And there's the reaction from police officers is totally different from somebody who can recite those amendments and let them know, I know exactly what you're doing and you're violating my rights. When people don't know those things, they're taken advantage of. So until we can actually learn the Constitution and actually learn our rights and just not know that some of these things is wrong, I think that we're still going to be treated bad. We also spoke yesterday about people in high places. I feel like that anybody who has a KKK, Ku Klux Klan application in any high place, whether it is lawyers, politicians, judges, police officers, anybody who obtains that application or is a part of that organization should not be in those positions. The people in those positions are the ones that abuse the law the most. And it's
Mhm.
unfortunate because I can't count how many times I've seen police officers who were definitely wrong or committed murders where they walked into their homes to arrest them and they had a KKK application.
Yeah. And
That tells you where their heart is, why they're out here protecting and serving. They're not
they're not.
protecting and
They're
they're
not.
not. In that situation, and I think that that really needs to be evaluated. I keep hearing people say vote, vote, vote. Well, we need people that we can vote for, that's worth voting for. You can't give us bad and worse, like you said before, and expect us to choose between one or the other. Because to be honest with you, I wouldn't care if it was a black person or a white person or a yellow person or a red person, as long as they're going to put some laws in place that are going to protect us, then I'm all for it. But we've yet to reach that yet. They just keep giving us the same people over and over again, and nothing is changing. So it's not a good thing. Um, were you about to say something?
Yes,
I hate. Oh, go ahead.
the biggest problem is we're out here fighting, but how many people are reaching out to police commissioners? How many people are reaching out to commissioners and chiefs? I feel like if we're parents and we got to be responsible for our kids and we got to be responsible for the actions of our kids anytime we send them anywhere, if they're underage or they're minor age, we have to be responsible for them. Your position as you putting a unit together to serve and protect us, you should be responsible for what unit you put out there. There is a thing that each officer have called a jacket. If my jacket has a whole bunch of offenses against one race, or if my jacket has a whole bunch of offenses, anything that's any way off wall, and I have not had a mental evaluation, and I have not had some things done in place, you shouldn't blame me at this point. It's time for you to look at that commissioner and that chief to see why have these officers' jacket not been reviewed, and what decisions were you making to change the things that they have been doing, or are they just allowed to run around like we in Wild Wild West? So I think that we should
That's true.
start putting the blame where it lies. Yes, those officers are wrong, but you're equally as wrong because y'all are people that we voted in or we have in place to set to protect us. You're supposed to govern the officers. So if these officers are going around, running around here like they on rampage, even peaceful protests, the protesters don't get violent until we get officers and stuff to come in that want to showboat and show off their badge. We got a president that's egging on all the stuff. Look at what we have sitting in front of us and think about why are we out here fighting as people in the street fighting and we're not getting to these people. Like I think some more time need to be spent with somebody getting the president some way, and we have an open forum. We don't have to be able to get to the president, but he need to hear our mother's cries. He need to hear how we fear our kids out here on the street, and we ain't fearing that nobody's gonna harm our kids but your officers. You with your mouth antagonizing people and starting a race war where there don't have to be a war. Think so. I know there was a lot of racism, but you can't tell me it's not more bold now because of from the
Oh,
beginning
absolutely.
he
Absolutely.
came in making it a thing. And see, and that's why I don't believe in being one-sided. Because at first it was the Mexicans, and it was this and that say about our president. Then eventually it got black people. Then eventually it became immigrants. And then all of a sudden, look what we have now. Everybody's
It's all
divided. And that's a whole thing of falling for the banana in the tailpipe. We get you against them long enough for y'all to end up arguing and fighting. And then now we got a whole war and nobody's together. Everybody's divided.
Yeah, well, I think that was the method anyway to conquer and divide us so that we couldn't stand. Because if we did stand, we would have been a lot more powerful than we are now. The only issue now is that we have to remember what we standing for. We can't be out here vandalizing things. And believe it or not, I truly believe that a lot of the vandalism is not coming from our people. I think it's coming from other people, other races. And I'm not going to say that it's completely the white race because I understand that some of our people are out here doing something crazy, but I just want people to understand and realize like there are piles of bricks appearing in the middle of riots. Why do you think they're giving y'all them piles of bricks? They want because here's the thing. If we do enough, my suggestion is that everybody retreat and do this thing the right way. Because if we do not, they're going to call martial law in and they're going to put FEMA camps in place. And they got what they wanted. They tried to do it. All this was a diversion from the coronavirus. They're not stopping you from rioting. They wanted you to protest because then you were exposed. This virus still lives. There was a certain amount of people that they wanted, to die because of this virus, and they didn't hit those numbers. Well, after all this contact, what do you think is going to happen?
They
The
gonna hit
very
the
thing they
numbers.
wanted is going to happen. Exactly. And the crazy thing is, a lot of these people are going to go to the hospitals to get care, and they're not even going to be treated properly. They
No.
already weren't being treated properly. So those are the things that people are not thinking about. And I get that we upset. I get that we angry. Because I am too. I'm a mother of, and it's just not our black sons, it's our black daughters too. It doesn't matter. Male, woman, cat, dog. It don't matter at this time. If you black, then you won't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just unfortunate because they don't care. But at the same time, we have to be smarter than them.
Mm-hmm.
They've outsmarted us for a long time. The thing that we have on our side now is knowledge. So we have to be knowledgeable about the things that's going on. And if you just really sit down, you know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking to our people. If you really sit down and evaluate what's going on, this is nothing but a setup. It's a setup to set us back again. Because if they
Mm-hmm.
put FEMA camps in place and they, move in this martial law, all we did was take a step all the way back to slavery almost. That's
Exactly.
all we did. So it's got to stop. It has got to stop, and it's got to stop now. Because if we stop now, they have no reason for it. We want it to stop before it gets to that point because they're already mentioning it. So
Yes.
we want to stop before it gets to that point. And the only thing we can do is hold on and try to get the right people in place. But we got to do this the right way because we need this to be forever. We don't need martial law and FEMA forever. We need this forever. We need these laws to be changed forever so that they suit us and that they will get the time that they're supposed to get. Or that we can at least have some peace of mind when our kids walk to the store or jog down the street or do anything that they want to do and know that they're not going to be assassinated or murdered in cold blood, and everybody give a reason and say, oh, because you look like or you fit the description, because that's what's happening. It's happening every day and it's happening more than ever. So like I said, I get the frustration, but we got to do this the right way. We gotta do this the right way or nothing is going to be done. Like I can remember saying, I'm so over these riots,
Yes.
and I'm so sick of it, but the thing about it is no matter how sick of it I am, I understand it. I don't agree, but I understand it. And because I understand it, a part of me still has to respect the movement. I just wish that it would go a different way.
And then one thing about me, the saddest thing about me is I'm one of them parents that believe in being hard on your kids. So I used to have moments where my kids don't do what they're supposed to do. I wouldn't mind calling the police and, hey, go ahead. But picture me now. That ain't even an option anymore. When I was in Orangeburg, my son took my credit card. I had just bought him Christmas and he took my credit card. I called some officers. They not gonna harm him. Come on, Clayton. You go with me. They took him, kept him overnight, and I got my baby back. But picture me putting my child in the officer hand now.
You
I did the
cannot.
same thing to my daughter Brittany. They took her around the block for a few hours just to let them know that it's not never okay to do certain things. But that can't even be an option now. I remember taking kids, my other kids that I raised, we take them down to DJJ and have them interact with officers. That's never an option I can use anymore at this point. That's
No, it's
something
not.
that's been took away. They don't want us to hit our kids. We can't trust y'all. So what options do we have to still have some sense of decency and be able to raise kids and have some type of discipline?
Well, I think the first red flag was we were not able to discipline our children. We can't discipline our children without having defects in our homes, but you can murder them.
Hmm.
You can murder them and say that it was an accident and oh, we're sorry, or justify it some kind of way, but we can't punish our children so that they can be better people. That was the first red flag. Secondly, there are some good officers out here. I don't want people to forget that. I do not want people to think that every officer is the bad guy because some officers are really out here to protect and serve. We got some good ones out here. It's just that we are outnumbered by the bad ones. See, and a lot of times, that's why I think a psych evaluation is important. I want to know
Hmm.
what happened to you in school. Did you get picked on at school? Are you having issues at home? Do you feel bullied by your wife? Do you feel bullied by other people? When you put that badge on, does that give you some type of authority to abuse other people or mistreat them?
Do
Because
you just
those are
have
the things
little
that are
man
happening.
syndrome?
And it's usually people. Yeah, exactly.
Do you have little man syndrome? Does
Because
that badge just make you feel big? Do you pulling out that nightstick
it
beating
made them
somebody?
feel like,
Does that give you a thrill?
yeah, because they feel like Superman. They feel like they have that power and that authority, and people like that should not be in that position at all. They
No.
shouldn't, because people like that are going to kill us, and they're not going to have any remorse, and they're not going to do any time for it. And I hope this is the last time a black man or a black woman or any race. Because here's the thing, and I also want people to understand that there are some really good white people out here. There are some really, really good white people, and they standing with us. And the one thing I don't like is I've been looking at comments and I see people tell them to shut up or they don't understand. And that's not true, because the one thing that they got to consider is when a white woman has a child by a black man, her child is a black child.
Mm-hmm.
Her child is an African American. Anything that a black man touches, that child becomes an African American. I don't care if black women have children by white men. Guess what? They came out of you, black woman. They are still
Mm-hmm.
African American. They are still black children. They are still endangered. They endanger when they walk out here, and people
Mm-hmm.
can't forget that. So some of these, white people who are rioting have interracial families. And of course, they feel some type of way because they don't want their children to what their children no less than ours are. They're still African Americans, and the same thing can happen to them because they see their skin. There was a cop that held up oh God, he held up colors and said, if you're this tan, then you're okay. But when you get to this point, you ain't no good. But that's a lot of the mixed children.
Exactly.
So they're marching for a purpose, and I don't want the one thing I don't want people to do is get blindsided. Good is good and bad is bad. We
Mm-hmm.
don't like the bad. We appreciate the good. We love the good. We love everybody that love us. And for
Mm-hmm.
real, we're supposed to have a heart that loves those who don't love us. It's hard, but we're still supposed to do just that. But we can't forget that some of these people out here who don't look like us are still for us.
Yes.
And that's cops and all. And I don't want people to lose sight of that, because if people lose sight of that at that point, it becomes a racist war, because then we are completely divided, and it should not be that way. Right now, we just want justice. We just want the right laws put in place that's going to protect us and our children. And we want the people behind bars who have murdered our children, our sons, our daughters, our fathers. We want the people in jail and to take, credit for what they have done. Somebody's got to do it. Everybody can't negate the fact that, this stuff is going on and ignore it and think that we can just brush it under a rug. It's not going to go away. If we perish today, then guess what? Martin Luther King perished. Malcolm X perished. And we still dealing with this. At some point, we got to get to the point where we say enough is enough. And I think we're at that point. We just got to do it the right way. If we don't do this the right way, we're not going to get the results we want, and we're going to be worse off than what we started. And we can't afford that, because we are already being murdered in cold blood. It would literally take anything. And if anybody knows anything about martial law and FEMA at that point, what's worse? You know what I'm saying? It's being given a bad and a worse hand again, because that's what we're back at. Are we going to accept the vaccinations and the chips that they want us to have just to be able to feed our children? They still win. They still win. So it's time for people to really think about those things and stop breaking into these malls and taking everything. That don't have anything to do with what's going on. If you out here and you protesting and you just stealing, you still doing wrong. Wrong is what we fighting against. You're not any better than the people that's killing people, because no sin is greater than the other. You're not any better. So if that's what you out here doing, then you out here for the wrong reason. Because what we trying to do,
the purpose.
It really defeats
the purpose, because now we're getting ignored and we're not being heard, because they're thinking it's more of, because we already have a stigma. They already have put us in a box. This is what we do. We steal, we rob, the chicken, the watermelon, all those little stereotypes. Those are our things. And if you continue to keep living up to the stereotypes, why would anybody ever take you serious?
They're not. They're not. They're going to do exactly what they're doing. They're going to do exactly,
And I think it takes away from the people who dying, because we got people dying on both sides. And it takes away from the people who die. If you take this moment and think that it's about you getting a pair of Gucci shoes that you couldn't afford before this happened, because if you couldn't afford Gucci before this happened, maybe you don't need Gucci. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you don't need Gucci. That might be your problem. You just need to leave Gucci where it's at. Because if you weren't wearing Gucci before this happened, you leave Gucci where it's at. And it takes away from you supposed to be out here for this one thing. And if this is what you're doing, it has nothing to do with that person who died. And you take it away from this moment that we could have been being heard. Just like I said, I want to do a media protest. I don't want to be out there because I want to do a media protest, and I want these media protests to get into the hand of the commissioners, police chiefs in all cities, because I think that's the problem. We're out here just being loud and ignorant. Nobody's coming to the people who needs to hear our voices. They need to hear how we mothers that fear for our kids and how our tax dollars help make sure you get paid. Because like my kids, I'm scared for their life, and my kids are not necessarily out there doing nothing wrong. They go to work to help make a check for every police commissioner and every government official because they get their tax money. Every one of my kids that's old enough to work is working. But I got to be scared for you to go to work. I just told my son, you got to clean it up a little bit because I need you to look like somebody care about you, because I don't want you to be the next man they're beating up against a car dragging because they think you don't got nobody that care about you. Then I said to you, and I told you, I said that felt real hard to me because I accept my child however he is. But that hurt me to death to tell him you got to be something other than what's you because I'm scared for your life. That's a hard thing for me to tell my child, you got to be something that's not you. But that's the reality we have right now.
And
he can't just walk around. He can't just go outside and smoke a cigarette because now that cigarette will be turned into you was out there smoking weed and you done did 30 other things that had nothing to do with what you were doing at the time. Because Correct. You just look like nobody cares.
Yep. And that's the truth. So, I mean, some kind of way we're going to have to pull this together. We're going to have to do it really fast because if we don't, the odds are not in our favor. They're not in our favor. We're going to put our children through a lot of things that we haven't even been through yet. And it's not going to be good. So I just want people to really think about what's going on. And it's just got to be some type of order. We just got to do this thing the right way, because if we don't, at this point, I'm really afraid for my children, because at this point, we are already at a point of no turning back. We can't act like this didn't happen. And nor would I wouldn't ask anybody to act like it didn't happen, because it is happening. And the thing about it is, the only difference now is, a lot of people, the problem was everybody ignored these types of things because it wasn't them until it happened to them. Then you saw the frustration, but it has happened to so many of us that it's hard to ignore anymore. This is something that you can't ignore anymore. So as unfortunate as it is, and it is very, very unfortunate, I think about a lot of things. I think about, we were talking about people not being able to afford to even run for office. But I think of all the African Americans who were fortunate enough to have the finance to back these people so we could get the right people in office. It really started with all of us. We can't sit and point at one person or this person or that person. It really starts with all of us, because for real, we all dropped the ball.
Yes.
We all. The question that nobody ever wants to ask is, we had a Black president in office. Why weren't some of these amendments changed? Why weren't some of these house laws changed? Why?
Like we not being citizens. So our life is not protected because we're not considered citizens. But there's people who don't even know that. There's people who, and that's the important thing. A lot of things we need to know. And we have a new show coming out. It's called Getting to Know America. Because that's the
Mm-hmm.
problem. A lot of people don't know some of the stuff in the Constitution. A lot of people don't know there's laws that actually say that we're not citizens. So every time we get killed and they come up with, oh, stand your ground and all these crazy things, there are laws in place that protect them and makes it easy for us to be killed. So
It does.
there's a lot of stuff that we need to study and we need to research for ourselves because the hardest thing and the most important thing is we have been becoming people that follow the crowd. We follow
Yep.
whatever's popular. We go vote for whoever everybody else is voting for. It doesn't have nothing to do with what that person is going to do for you. It has nothing to do with what we feel we're going to gain as a people. We want to do whatever's popular. If this person over here doing this, I got to do it. I got to have it. And that's the problem. Research, use your own mind, and think about how it affects you and your family. If it's not good for you, don't you go just being somebody who want to follow up everything that's going on, because that's never been me. I don't care who like me or who not. If I don't feel like I want to vote Democrat, you're not going to make me vote nothing that I don't want to vote. And if these people ain't talking about the things that's going to help me, I need to try to find out who is talking about the stuff that want to help me. And just like my sister was telling me, she said, sis, we spend $5 to $10 every day on a meal. If we could save that money up and get us some people that's really about us and really trying to help us, and we can do that collectively as a unit, we could get us some decent people in place because we understand being a politician, it costs. So sometimes we get the people who can afford to be a politician, not necessarily a good person, but it's the person who can afford to be a politician. So maybe we need to think
Yep.
about what we can do to change things because we see some people ain't gonna never try to help it and they ain't gonna never make it better. But the only person you can fix is yourself. So if you're not doing nothing, you ain't need no place to talk. So if it take $5 or $10 from each one of us to get us a candidate that really gonna care about us and put some right people in the correct places, I think I'm willing to give up a McDonald's meal every now and then. Matter of fact, I can lose some weight. I ain't trying to lose weight because I'm okay because I love to eat. But I can lose some weight for that cause.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And yeah, I know your sister that told you that.
You happen to know that lady?
But you're absolutely right. So something has definitely got to change. I think your screen is freezing up. I don't know if it's yours or mine, but um
I can
something has
hear you,
definitely got to change and it's got to change now. So yeah, I don't know why it's doing that,
but I
but
hear
that
you.
you know before yeah, you know what? In a time like this, it don't even matter about no editing or nothing. We just need the message across. So as long
Exactly.
as they can understand us here, it don't even matter at this point because you know how we are usually. Oh my God.
Yes.
But something has got to change. It's and what people have to understand is it's not going to change overnight. It's going to be a process because it was a process to get here, you know, and that's what people not realizing. It has been a process. The process was devaluing the black man and taking the black man out of the homes and making black women feel superior, not feeling like they needed them, you know. And when they felt like they didn't need them, they gained an independent mindset, and it left no place for our black men. It didn't. So at that point, you know, everything they did, it was kind of like, hey, you go to jail, you go to jail, you go to jail. No, you can't get this. You know, it's just certain places, you know, where they have opened up different group homes and things like that for women and children. You know, these children have fathers. Why wasn't it, you know, made for families? You know, so I mean, this process to tear us down has been happening over a long period of time, you know. And once they actually got in a position where they can make us look absolutely bad and devalue us all together, now you see it in full effect. Now it's like, oh y'all some monkeys, oh y'all some animals, oh y'all don't belong here, oh your life ain't worth living, oh you're nothing, oh shut up, you're rioting but you're nobody, you're not as good as us, you know. Um, and it's unfair. It's unfair, but the only way we're gonna be able to do something about this, y'all, is if we stick together and do it the right way. And I can't stress that enough. So I don't know, Sharika, but you know, something has definitely got to happen. It's got to happen soon.
Well, I'm one of the ones to tell you I don't scream independent by no means. Yes, I will get out and work and help my husband. Just started doing it. Ain't even about the story and make like it happened all my life, and that's who I've been all my life. But I don't scream independent by no means because there's a lot of things I don't like to do. And I thank God I have a husband because God knows. Do I know how to pump gas? If I was driving a car, I might
No,
not know how to pump the gas.
no, you
I
don't.
don't know how to
No.
drive a car. There are some things that I just don't do. And I thank God I have a husband to do it. But I remember times when I had to lie and say I didn't have a husband for me and my children to do what we have to do. And most of the time when those cases came around, like my husband was in a bad accident and he couldn't work. And they wanted to sue him for child support and all sorts of things. And I'm like, but dog, he had 4 months where he couldn't work, but my kids are almost grown, and you ready to just lock him up and forget about the fact that he done raised my kids all this time. But because we needed a little bit of assistance, they were ready to lock him up and throw away the key. And it's sad that that's how the system has it set up. And women go around and scream, I'm independent, I can do it all by myself. But do you have to do it all by yourself? It's a difference in when you have to do it all by yourself, or you have let the system make you think that you're doing it all by yourself because you have gotten some food stamps and you got a check, or you got this child support coming from this man, and now you're screaming independent. But you're independent at what cost? Is it costing your kids because they don't have a daddy in their life, and now they go out and they don't know how to be men? We have boys that don't know nothing about being a man, so that's why these officers get to handle them like that. They don't have daddies taking them to the gun range. They don't have daddies teaching them that you have to be a gentleman and these are the things that you need to do. So you being independent at what cost? What cost is it to your kids for you to be screaming independent?
Well, I think what women forgot about, the ones who are screaming independent is when they removed the black man from the home, it took the structure out of the home and it left the mother to work, which left the children unsupervised, which made the children unruly. Because at that point in time, a mother still had to provide. And I'm going to tell you something. I got a lot of children. It is very hard to be a caretaker, and a provider for my children. You're going to fall short in one of them areas. And when you know that you can't afford to fall short in either area, your job just get a whole lot harder. And a lot of mothers have experienced that. But like you said, if a father is in the home, then they don't want to provide you with any assistance at all. And that's unfortunate because everybody could use some help sometime, but it shouldn't be at the cost of destroying our black men. It should not.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're absolutely right about that. But this is where we are. These things been going on, and all we can do now is try to make it better. So we got to come to a solution. I hear everybody screaming, "This ain't right. This ain't right." What is the solution? We need solutions. We need layouts. We need laws change. We need these things in place. These are the things that we need to be hearing. We don't want to hear what the problem is. We've been living the problem our whole lives. I'm not hearing too many people talk about the solution. That's what we need.
Well,
So
as a team, we have been putting out COVID testing, and we got to meet some commissioners, and we got to meet some candidates for Senate, and we have been being next to some people. So I think what we're going to do is put together our protest video, and we're going to hand them to some of these people because we're not going to keep supporting these communities. Matter of fact, I left out of my home in Henry County to go over to DeKalb County on some stuff for a commissioner. And I'm not going to keep leaving home and doing these things to put back into the community just to make somebody look good for them to get voted for. We gonna put these videos in the hands that they need to be in to make sure that they know what changes we feel is needed as people who live in this life day to day. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to get us a group of people together, and we're gonna do a peaceful protest. You say whatever you feel you have to say within the means, and we not cussing and disrespecting nobody, because we're gonna give them a chance. We're gonna give them a chance to hear us out. But I think we need to pull back some of our support from the community if we're not getting nothing back in return. Because actually, when that riot was going on, we was actually in DeKalb County. And we was out there
that's
just
correct.
making sure elderly people
That's
get
correct.
COVID tested. It had nothing to do with us. We were doing nothing for ourselves. We was out there making sure people get COVID testing because they were getting turned around at the hospital saying they had to have symptoms. So if we could give and care that much for everybody else, I think we were worth listening to.
Yep. Well, we're gonna see how this go, because I mean that's all we can do. You know, there's so I know you and I talked about some things that we are definitely going to move forward in, and hopefully those things.
Oh, she left.